Now we're live right now.
Now we are live.
Oh
It
my
is
God.
August 15th, 2022, and this is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast. I'm going to do the double barrel because it's been a month since I've been on.
Oh, is that Evan Williams?
Let me get this other one. Oh, no. It's been on there too long. There it is. Yeah, so these are a couple that I've had stowed away that I've been waiting to finish off. They've just got a little bit left in them, but it's the single barrels from 2002 and 2006. So
cool.
I'll try to polish those off tonight. So
just pour them in together.
No, I won't do that.
Make an infinity bottle. Well, an infinity cup.
Oh yeah. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Great. I'm glad I'm the common thread between podcasts, between Tim and you. So.
No kidding. If it were not for you, this podcast would not exist this year.
Absolutely. I am just the anchor that keeps things going.
Yeah. It's been tough this year, this season, for lots of different reasons, not just the product on the field, but with life in general. And so yeah, I'm glad you've been able to swing as many as you've been able to, because like I said, if it weren't for you, we probably wouldn't have the shows that we do have. And I know that we did have to take a break a few times this season just because of stuff that's been going on for all of our schedules. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yep. Kendrick Brock, lol, Dan Bean, the consistent guy is crazy.
No.
Brittany S. Hay, Nathan Explosion. Hello. Elliot Beaven, Elbow Cough, and Jay Hannibal. Hey guys. Elliot Beaven also stating that Anthony Taylor sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sure you agree with that 100%, Kev, right?
100%.
100%, absolutely. Why they give him that role, I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, lots to catch up on, man. How you been? It's like I said, it's been a while. It's been a month since I've recorded. I know you and Tim were able to get on last week. I was listening to that while I was working and doing housework. So how you been?
I've been doing good. Just trying to keep on top of the exercising, trying to get some sort of consistency with diet. But now the kids are back in school, and it's just organizing carpools for activities for school. It's just freaking nuts.
Yeah, it's been pretty brutal. School being back in for about 2 weeks now here in Atlanta. Definitely noticed the uptick in traffic throughout, and it's just getting worse and worse every day. I feel like as more schools are coming online. So
these damn kids.
Once Georgia Tech is up and running, it's just going to be all downhill from there. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, doing good, man. There's a lot that I feel like there's a lot that me and Tim missed last week.
Dude, it's so much stuff. Because I forgot all the things. One of the things I'll lead off with. One of the things that has happened since the last time that we recorded, and you guys may have talked about it in between whenever I was tuning in, but the I don't want to say the terminate. I guess it'd be resignation. I guess of Darren Eales. We didn't really. Yep. You guys didn't talk about that last week, right?
We did not.
So the way I've talked about it is with Darren Eales himself this weekend, actually, at Egg Harbor Cafe over on Peachtree, in which I saw him walking by, and I immediately jumped up from the table, went over and shook his hand and started talking to him, only to realize after the fact that I caught him in passing as he was trying to go to the restroom with his son. So that was a great little tidbit to take back to the table of realizing I not only stopped him to thank him for his service, so to speak, but that I did so in him trying to take his infant child to the restroom.
What a dick move, Kevin. God. Guy hasn't got enough on his plate. He's trying to take his kid to the bathroom before his kid wets himself. Though I'm sure he took it all in stride and was like... Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things I think about the team and about the city in general, is just the amount of happenstance encounters I feel like I've had with players and managers. I guess he's the first sort of front office personnel that I've run into in passing. But yeah, and then of course it's like I said, in that circumstance and during that time, it was just hilarious to me. So
yeah, I met him walking over a crosswalk down because he lives around the corner from where I work. And it was years ago. It was before the pandemic, and he had his children with him. So I was like, "Hey, Darren," and we were in the middle of the road, and he was going the opposite way to me. So I thought it best not to stop him.
Yeah. And that's also you saying, hey, Darren, that was the other thing I was talking about after the fact. I think we talked about it on the show. Whenever I run into Gressel in years past, is like, it's always weird calling any of them by their first name, because it's like, I don't fucking know you. I see you on TV and through social media, and it's also equally weird for me to be like, Mr. Eels, hey, how's it going?
Oh, my name's Kevin. I love Atlanta United.
Exactly. So it's very weird for me to be like chasing after him again on the way to the restroom. Darren, where are you going? I'm like, that's what I really want to talk to you about.
Yeah, I love Newcastle. Yeah, it was like that time when you saw Luis Araujo in the mall, and you kept grabbing his bottom.
No, that one was really weird because he had on the hat and everything, and I had to like both him and Gressel both. I had to be like, Julian, like with a question mark, and him I was like, Luis, and he was like, yeah. It's just like they're also a little taken aback, I feel like, whenever they're recognized. So it's just this weird sort of dance of trying to recognize them and say hey to them while also not wanting to like hold them up and talk too much or get a picture and all this stuff. It's like, I know you have your life. I just want to say, hey, I'm a fan, whatever. So
has any of them ever, when you've met someone like that, have they ever gone, Moby?
No, I have not had that.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. No,
Kevin looks exactly like Moby. So
this weekend, funny enough, you say that, is whenever I said that to Darren, he was like, oh, Koopman, such a great goal last night, man. Thanks for saving us. So it was great.
Yeah, and he was like, wait.
He's like, no, you're an extra 40 pounds.
Do you think Koopman kind of looks like Jon Snow without the hair, obviously?
Oh man, I don't know. That's tough. Are you psyched for the House of Dragons, speaking of which?
Yeah, I am.
I've been on the fence about it. So
what, are you gonna not watch it?
No, exactly. I mean, that's inevitable. I gotta get caught up with Westworld, man. I saw the new season of that's just started up. So
I watched the first season and then I got an episode or two into the second one and just kind of, I don't know, just moved on to different things. But same thing with Stranger Things. But now my son has watched the whole of Stranger Things, so I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah.
But
Stranger Things has been great.
Have you seen the movie Prey though?
Which one is that?
It's a new Predator movie. It's set against
like Native Americans or something like that. No, I have not seen that yet.
Kevin, I mean, I don't know if you like Predator movies, but it's like a legit good movie.
I liked the new Predator movie that came out, like the newest one that had Olivia Munn in it and stuff. It was kind of like tongue-in-cheek Predator movie, but I watched it on a flight a couple years back. I really enjoyed it. So
this is not tongue-in-cheek, but it's really good. It's really good. I forget the actress's name, but she's freaking badass. It's so cool.
But, all right.
Anyway,
back on topic. I'll rein us in. Darren Eales leaving for Newcastle. Thoughts on both him leaving and what lies ahead for the club? What are you thinking?
I felt like it's inevitable, and I knew I was thinking a few months ago, man, that's gonna really suck when he goes, because he's been that constant thread. Like, he's my faith in the front office that things will get through. And then when I heard the announcement, I was like, man, I'm actually bummed about this. But it's a fantastic opportunity. I mean, it's great to have someone with that sort of connection back to what should be one of the top teams in the Premier League in the next few years. But there's no doubt in my mind he's going to be successful. I hate it for Atlanta United. I hate it for myself. I don't really care about Newcastle. But it's a fantastic opportunity for him. And it's good that we're seeing executives get promoted in those sort of jobs.
Yeah, so no, absolutely.
It's good for the league.
I think it's it's tough, man. Like you said, it was inevitable, and you're going to see the turnover of staffing and personnel all the way up through the organization. And so much of what we as a fan base have witnessed is the turnover in players, and obviously the coaching and managing carousel that we've had, and not so much rotation on the front office side. But it was tough to see that with all of some understandable or some rightful criticism of what's been happening with Bocanegra and what's been going on with the talent acquisitions and stuff like that, to see Darren jump ship almost just felt like, let me get out while the getting's good kind of deal, because it feels like there is, like, right now there isn't anyone at the helm, and that's a little concerning, I feel like, especially whenever you think about the prospect of hiring internally, and does Carlos take that job, and what that means to the club. And so it's been a weird sense of emotions overall with everything going on. Certainly happy for him, and like you said, it's great for the club to showcase the sort of ability to elevate not only players but front office staff to that level. Granted, he was already over there before, not with Newcastle, but yeah, man, I don't know, and I don't know who. It's just, this team's just been without continuity so much the past few years. It was also just like, oh, of course this would happen. Of course it would.
Of course, yeah. If this has got to be like a legit hire from Atlanta United. It's to replace Darren. It needs to be. I mean, you can spend whatever. There's no salary cap here. You can, and Darren came from Tottenham. I mean, he came from the Premier League. So if they make an internal hire, I'll be shocked. I think they need to be going after someone with, that Premier League pedigree. I mean, a name that's been bandied around a lot, which would be an internal MLS hire, is Garth Lagerwey. He has done a fantastic job in Seattle, but then it's like, well, why would he come here? It's, although we would,
because we're just building Seattle 2.0 at this point,
right? And it's like, well, we potentially would have more money, and it would be, his baby. But I feel like the move for him is to a higher tier league, and Darren knows him pretty well just from his dealings with MLS. Why would you not?
Right.
Try and go after someone like that. But I don't know. That's just speculation on my part. But
yeah, and I feel like that's all any of it's going to be, right? Is just speculation on not knowing which way the winds may blow in that regard. But you're absolutely right. There is no salary cap for that. And I think that especially with the amount of stuff that's been going on with the club, the lack of results, stuff like that, I could easily see Arthur getting invested into this, I mean, no pun intended, invested in this decision-making process as he was at the onset whenever Darren was hired to bring somebody in that's going to Kendrick's point, maybe put people in their place in that existing front office, and maybe taking care of some of the decisions that Boca's made over the recent years, and maybe getting in line with sort of the Pineda mentality of building a team around MLS stewardship and leadership and tenure, because I think that there's something to be said about that within any league, particularly with MLS. And whenever it's a salary cap league, you really are dependent on those MLS veterans, and you'd be hard pressed. I mean, I don't know of a successful MLS team that's built continued success that doesn't have that sort of core of MLS veteran leadership in the lineup. It's you may have a flash in the pan of a breakout season from a team here or there, but those that are consistently in the running have a consistent basis of MLS leadership at the veteran level.
Yeah, I feel that's what's missing. That's what I feel like we're all hedging our bets on Santi Sosa to kind of be that guy for the rest of the season, and someone who we could potentially build around. But I mean, he's still pretty young. But I mean, Alonso was our one card.
Yeah,
he was our
exactly.
one play, and then that happened. But then, what are you gonna?
Yeah. But what I will say is what I'm seeing out of the club right now, aside from the sort of MLS experience or sort of MLS carousel within the roster, is a really talented squad. And it's really unfortunate that I feel like this season has continuously been on repeat between goals scored against Atlanta United on set pieces, Atlanta United injuries, and Atlanta United stoppage time goals. Like, it's just, I mean, that those 3 talking points have really defined the season as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just week in and week out. It's one of those 3 things has come up.
Yeah. I don't think we've conceded the first goal for a while.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
may be wrong on that, but it feels like there has been a little bit more toughness in us in the past few games after Austin. There's, we've at least, I mean, the game for against Cincinnati was an amazing, like,
Dude, that was a
25 minutes.
Well, I mean, dude, it was even with the result. I mean, especially gotta give it up to Gutman finally pulling it together 2 games in a row after all the near misses he had earlier this season. Obviously, coming back from injury, everything else. We'll get into specifics on the game, but overall, that game was incredibly entertaining to watch for all of its flaws and all of its missteps and mishaps and just chaos on both ends of the field. It was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, and that's what I want. I mean, I feel like Pineda did really, really well in that game. He like figured out how to play Moreno and Almada together without them sort of running into each other. It's just like that. It's and to be fair, I mean, we could have. There's the potential that game could have been won by us 5-1. I mean, those terrible defensive lapses, especially on Parada on the second Cincinnati goal.
Yeah.
I mean, we hit the post. I mean, we could have been 4-0 up in the first 20 minutes.
That game could have gone 4 or 5 goals in either direction.
Yeah.
I mean, the last stop that Rocco gets as he drops to the ground on that crazy fucking throw in that came in across the entire 18-yard box over in front of the 6-yard line. Like, they both had incredible saves. You've got near misses on both sides, hitting post on both sides. Like I said, that game could have easily been 5-1 in either direction,
Yeah. It was just great to see that Atlanta United they had that dog in them, like that we've seen, that we've all been pining for. Much like, we had a Michael Parkhurst and a Jeff Lorenowitz in the Tata Martino era, but it was so they could anchor down the defense while we could just go all guns blazing. And that's what we need to do. If we're going to have any hope of getting points, we just got to go for it. Yeah. And the points are going to fall where they may.
Yep. And it was really nice to see a couple of different things in the game. So one thing for me was people are starting to get healthy, right? So you've got Brooks Lennon returning into the lineup, Hernandez returning into the lineup. Who else was out there that we haven't seen recently? That there was somebody else that I'm forgetting. That
well, there was Martina Dwyer came on as a substitute. Who else did we see? Lennon, Brooks Lennon.
Yeah. That's what I said. Right, Lennon. Lennon and Hernandez were the 2 that have been injured that are finally like actually getting significant play time. So it's good to see that. And then obviously we had the Martinez and McFadden and Dwyer subs as well. So it was good to see, a lot of rotation, a lot of reps from players that we haven't seen. And then, I mean, I kind of glossed over it, but having Gutman in the lineup 2 weeks in has made a huge impact on both sides of the ball. And that cannot be overstated. Again, just how much injuries have plagued this team at his position alone is glaringly obvious in these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, as much as Parata has helped Alan Franco, I feel like at least on the weekend, Gutman's inclusion kind of helped Wiley, so he didn't have to deal with those defensive stuff all the time. I mean, Wiley didn't have his best game, but I would prefer to see Wiley going up forward rather than trying to have all that defensive responsibility all the time. And
because he's still growing and maturing, and you don't want him to be taking on so much responsibility that, I mean, we saw some of those lapses come from Wiley in those few games that he was put into that position where he just had some mental lapses that ended up leading. I think the one led to that PK that I forget who that was.
Against the Red Bulls?
I think so. But again, it's like having a player like Gutman back there behind him is going to allow him to get the best opportunities out of both sides of the ball, right?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I mean, we kind of saw the same thing with Bello. Like it was, he would be going forward, but then, as he was growing and trying to be more defensive, it just seemed too much for him in the end. Like he was so much better when he was running at defenses, I feel like, and trying to take shots at goal.
No, I completely agree. So yeah, that was really great to see from a lineup standpoint. The other big standout for me for this game was I saw a continued sort of rehearsed approach to attacking and a direct approach to attacking in a way that I haven't seen in this lineup. Maybe over the course of the season, that it was very deliberate in the approach where the team consistently found opportunities in the same way that you can't say was just happenstance, right? Like there was clearly a deliberate attempt to draw defenders inside of the 18 while having one or two unmarked skilled players at the top of the 18 that has a simple layoff and shoot opportunity. And it was consistently working where you're having to force defenses to be extremely disciplined to still man guys that are outside of the 18 while also not giving up the easy goal inside of the 18. And you're sort of splitting that defense on in and outside of basically 12 yards of space, right? So inside of the 6, outside of the 18. And so by Aruju and Joseph, and I mean, I'm trying to think who else was doing that act of pulling players inside of the 18. Both of them in particular ended up leading to the layoffs to the top of the 18 to Almada, one of which leads to the goal where he's got a wide open shot, unopposed. He can set up, take his strike. I think Joseph's layoff was to Moreno and Aruju's was to Almada that led to the goal. But again, both very similar circumstances. That says to me that is something that they've clearly been working on the training ground, and that those weren't the only two instances of that in the game, but were probably the two most successful. So it's really promising to see how they're deploying those skilled positions and what their skill sets are to try to play off of each other.
Yeah, it's been. Cisneros laid it off to Almada. I don't think it didn't end in a goal or anything, but it's man, Almada is just fantastic. I mean, I am hoping that he is still here for another year next year.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that he could go. But I mean, that's someone. He is the only player I've seen that you can kind of relate to Almiron. Like he will pick the ball up and run it at the defenders, and he will also have that work rate engine to harass defenders and midfielders and take the ball off them and dribble around them. And he's almost like a better dribbling version of Almiron.
Yeah, he's just not as fast.
Not as fast.
Yeah,
but he still has a decent amount of speed. I mean, he's a lot faster than, I don't know if he's Araujo level.
His touch is phenomenal, though, man.
I mean, he is one of the best players ever for Atlanta United. And I would put, like Joseph and Almada are probably the same for me. But he's just a work rate, and he worked really well with Sosa. Like I was just making some little notes. Sosa had 91 touches, Almada had 92. They were both in the upper 90s for passing percentage. And they were doing two different jobs. Sosa is that more defensive guy, whereas Almada is trying to. I mean, it's almost like a box-to-box defender.
Oh yeah.
I mean, box-to-box player.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we can have an opportunity with an off season to really build around him, I mean, gosh, I mean, that could be a cup winning team.
That's what I'm saying, man. I mean, you saw moments of it in that Cincinnati game. It's like, wow, there's a clear effort to work on things on the training ground and then employ it in the game that isn't just we're going to play defensively and play out of the back. It's some effort of this is how we want to attack. And then if this breaks down, we're going to do this or this, and that's something that I don't think that Atlanta's really had consistently. And we'll see if they continue to build on that going forward. But for me, it was really nice to see it and see it not just as a one-off, but as an intentional approach to how they're attacking the game, offensively speaking. And it may have just been a situational thing where they felt like they could capitalize on it with what Cincinnati was giving them. But to me, it seems like the way that the team and the lineup was rotating around those roles and constantly interchanging them, because it could be Almada, it could be Moreno, it could be Araujo, it could be Joseph. All of them have shot-making abilities, and so it's a matter of them knowing when and how to switch out those roles whenever you're employing that system. That was really fun to watch. So,
yeah, there's a lot. We just need to be a more defensive solidity, and we need some upgrades on that. I could feel like if we had an upgrade over Hernandez, and obviously, we need an upgrade of a DP striker.
Yeah.
Do you know who I would really love in this lineup right now is freaking Brandon Vasquez.
Dude, what's he one goal away from Golden Boot right now?
Gosh, man. He's
it's incredible.
Big, he's strong, he's fast. Gosh, he would be just.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. However, I will say, what I saw out of Brandon Vasquez was, I think so much of his ability to create goals are, again, it's just how the offense is built around him. He's not taking on the entire back line time and time again. He's not a flashy striker. He's a utility striker, in my opinion. He's doing what he needs to do, and it's producing results,
Right. I mean, if you can score a goal and you can body defenders around, I mean, he's the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so sorry, just going back to the trap. Steven Perales, one game in, not really missing Rossetto, and I agree with that. He just doesn't bring enough teeth to the defense, to the midfield, that we're not missing Rossetto. But Sosa in that single pivot, I mean, that's what we need to do right now. It's not the best defensive lineup, but he's the guy who we need.
I agree. And somebody had mentioned we need more attacking midfield. I think it was Elliot Beaven saying we need a new attacking midfielder. I'm afraid of this team becoming too attack minded with a more attacking midfield, in my opinion. I think that you really need somebody like a Sosa that's going to be your sort of defensive anchor in the midfield, because you've got so many players that are rotating in and out of that midfield across the line that's going to be more attack minded, that if you're placing too many players that are wanting to move forward, you've got nobody to come back. And we've seen how easily Atlanta United gets punished by teams that are going to really force that issue through the midfield.
Yeah, I like to I just like to do this. I think Moreno could be shipped out if we can get a I guess it's going to have to be a template, but it depends on Caleb Wiley's development. He's got a massive future ahead of him potentially.
Yeah.
And then if we can get some better help on the right, and Araujo can be more consistent, and we can get an absolute killer in front of goal like Joseph used to be, that would be fantastic. But
excuse me. Back to the point about front office change-ups, it'll be interesting to see not only how Darren's replacement is going to want to shake up the things within the front office, both with Carlos and others, but with the lineup and how he wants to put his stamp on who the signings may be. And does somebody coming in trust Pineda to make those decisions, or are they coming in with this sort of mentality of this is how we're going to build this roster and it needs X, Y, or Z to make it successful?
I think you've got to trust Pineda. I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a young manager. He's my age. Imagine me coaching Atlanta United. That's
Hard pass.
Hard pass, right? Yeah, be nary a George Bello inside.
James out.
already.
Hashtag James out.
So I feel like Pineda's got a lot of potential. I really do. He seems like a more modern manager. He puts more focus on stats. I'm surprised that we've only got one person in the stats department in terms of scouting players.
No kidding.
Which is very weird. I would like to see that department increased. I don't know if how much like a president would have over the types of players to bring in.
Yeah,
it's more of like day-to-day operations and things.
That's true.
But to your point though, does a new person bring in their own technical director? And it's like, okay, you can work with Pineda, but it drives me nuts when I hear rumors or things about other teams where the technical director is at loggerheads with the coach in terms of the players where you want to bring in, because there's got to be a balance, as we said before. You want to have those young, exciting players that you can sell on to make a profit, absolutely. But the success rate and the success focus about those guys coming in have to fit within the team, because if they don't fit within the team, they're not going to be successful, and it's not going to be a successful sell on. I mean, not every player is going to get a Deuces Machina like Pity Martinez got.
Yeah,
I mean,
no, absolutely.
So,
good question from Kendrick. You would think that whoever they hire is on board with Pineda being a manager for 3 more years. You've got to bring in somebody that's going to embrace the organization and not just want to burn it down from top to bottom. You certainly, and that's a delicate balance to make, right? Because you want somebody that's going to also come in and make their stamp on things and provide some benefit and not just be a yes man, but you also don't want somebody that's going to slash and burn.
Right. I mean, it's you got to create that good culture, right? You've got to. And that comes from the top. You've got to trust people in their positions, because that's what gets people. It gives people ownership in the team. If you trust them to do what they think is the best to do, then that's how you build good culture. But then it's got to happen at every level.
Yeah.
So I mean, absolutely. You got to keep Pineda. He's doing the best he can. The injuries have just been horrendous this year.
Yeah, and it's nice to see, like I said, some of those players starting to rotate back in, which has been great, and hopefully Atlanta can make a run. I will say it's disheartening to see them sitting in 12th in the East right now. That's a big time bummer to see them with 11 games left in the season sitting that far down in the table. Granted, it's not like they've got a huge mountain to climb to get back into contention. I think they need to win a couple in a row, but like Tim mentioned last week, I think it's been since 2019 that this team has won 2 in a row. So
God,
I don't know, man.
Terrible stat.
Yeah.
It's pretty disheartening. The thing is, we've got a lot of good teams. The East has been extremely tough as well this year. I'll be very, very surprised if we make it to the playoffs. I don't think that's really going to happen. But if these guys, if the front 4 or 5 players can stay consistent on the team, stay injury free, and get more chemistry going between them, then yeah, I think they absolutely could. Kevin's calling me. Hey, Kev.
A transformer just blew over here in the neighborhood. I heard it pop.
Okay.
And we just lost power. So carry on solo while you can, and then just wrap it up and sign off however you need to. But I'm going to be unable to join. So
okay. Well, I actually have you on speakerphone next to my snowball, so we could carry on like this if you want.
I was gonna say, let me see if I can join the StreamYard link from my phone on on cellular data. Just give me a second to see if I can do that, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, give me 2 seconds.
Okay, Kendrick in the trap says, Dan, tag me in. I got you. I know. We need to. Have we had Kendrick on the podcast before?
I don't think we have. We certainly should.
We probably. I mean, I would love to have Kendrick on, and Brittany S. That would be fantastic because Brittany S. has been around since day one, of course.
All right, let me see if I can join StreamYard from my phone. Hold on, I'm gonna hang up, and if I can, I'll call you back.
No problem. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a good time when something falls off my desk to go into the download. And I'm sure Kevin will interrupt it and it'll fuck it all up. So anyway, all right. So let me get my tabs sorted out. Red Bulls, 4th in the league in the Eastern Conference. Don't worry about the West. Played 25 games, won 10, drawn 7, lost 8. They're sitting on 37 points. Fair bit in front of Atlanta, but in the form table in the East, Atlanta are sitting at 9th in the form table, where Red Bulls are bottoming out into 11th. So if I can pull up my Red Bulls stats. All right, so the last, we can go back to 6 games. They beat Austin FC in Austin 4-3. That was pretty impressive. Then they bombed out in the Open Cup to Orlando, in Orlando 5-1. And of course, Orlando is in the Open Cup final. So I'm a massive Sacramento Republic fan. Always have been. Boyhood club from day one. Then they played Barcelona and lost 2-0. I mean, what the fuck was that? Come on. All right. Then they lost to Colorado at home, 4-5. A lot of goals scored there. Then they drew 0-0 with DC United, who have been terrible, but now they've got Christian Benteke, so we'll see what happens there. Then they lost again to Orlando in Red Bull Arena, 1-0. So their form is kind of hitting a little bit of a bump right now. I mean, still, Lewis Morgan is their best player. He's got 10 goals. He's been absolutely magic for him. Next is Lequinhas with 5 goals. Then freaking John Tolkien, man. Randomly, I was playing FIFA and John Tolkien came up on my scout report as a promising player, and I'm like, I'm not going to sign that guy. I mean, he comes up with that stupid golden head mullet trying to be all cool when he's like 16 years old. I don't know how old he is. But John Tolkien has been absolutely fantastic for him. So looking at who scored, Lewis Morgan, 7.06 rating, highest player in their team. Then tied with Tolkien and Coronel, the goalkeeper, Christian Caceres, both on 6.96. Lequinhas right behind them on 6.83, and Frankie Meyer 6.82. Who is that? Frankie Meyer has been that distributor of the ball forward for them. Red Bulls being Red Bulls, but then they've kind of been trying to play as well. So they really have not been as pressing Red Bulls that we have known in the past. Just that pressing team that Tito Villalba has just skipped past a few times and scored a couple of goals on them in the past. But frustratingly, I did look at the historical stats between Red Bulls and Atlanta, and they actually have a +7 goal difference on us, which is kind of frustrating. But anyway, so they create a lot of long shot opportunities. They create a ton of scoring chances. Strong in aerial duels, strong defending set pieces. They're pretty good at attacking set pieces and stealing the ball from the opposition. So those are traits that we've kind of seen from Red Bulls for a long time anyway, and ones that give Atlanta United freaking hell. We've never beat them in the regular season. We've drawn with them at home many times. Obviously, we've lost every time apart from the last time we went up to Red Bulls Arena. Though we could keep in possession, so obviously all of us expect and Atlanta United dominated possession, and they're not great at protecting the lead, which we've known to be the case, and defend against through ball attacks. So if Joseph Martinez can chip another through ball into Andrew Gutman or Andrew Glutz, man. Yes, Kev. I'm a wolf. That is like Dan James and Tim Herb style internet connection right there, Kev. So I'm real deep in a download. Have you lit a candle or something? Oh my god!
Send help.
I feel like I've been in this position before, so
yeah, I'm having to join off of cellular, so I don't think this is going to work. So you finish it up strong.
It sounds actually really good right now.
Okay, I'm going to get a flashlight.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's really shining off your head. That's
all right, finish what you're doing.
Yeah. Stephen Perales from the chat. I hope Red Bulls play a team of generic names because of rotation. I'm sure a lot of them will be coming from previous lacrosse players. So I'm hoping that Atlanta United could have a decent shot against Red Bulls on Wednesday. Man, I get so nervous predicting Red Bull scores. It's just every time we think we've beaten them, they come back and draw it when it's in Atlanta, or they, just beat us at home. It's just frustrating too. But yeah, throw your Red Bulls predictions in the trap.
So I hope we win. They've got to win. I haven't been to a game in a while, so they've got to win for me. I feel like this is a Blair Witch episode.
Are you going to the game, Kev?
I am. This is it'll be my birthday game to go to this week. So,
is it your birthday?
Friday.
Your birthday's on Friday, man. My calendar is letting me down. Usually, it tells me all the people's birthdays except for yours. So,
what's yours? October 12th.
That's right. Yep, October 12th.
Is it really October 12th?
No. I mean, I feel that I shouldn't disclose my actual birthday date on a podcast that is kind of like open to the public.
What was your first pet's name?
Well, my social security number is 755-32468, and my mother's name is Bradley. Yep. Kendrick Rock. You look like you're in one, except I don't know if you watch Dude Perfect, but you kind of look like Tyler from Dude Perfect. I watched a lot of that with my son. Kendrick Brock 2-0. Andrew Goatman brace. Elliot Beaven ATL 1-0. Brittany S says referee is Ted Uncle, so I'm pretty sure Brittany S is going to rage quit on Ted Uncle. Start Armada period. Yes, absolutely. We start Armada. I'm almost to the point where it's like Tata Martino just like put the guys in game after game after game. It didn't really matter how close the games were. And I'm kind of like, let's just do that. We've barely had any consistency throughout the entire season. So let's just put the same guys in. I mean, they played well. Let's just do it. Elliot Beaven, no. Kevin is freaking me out. Kevin freaks me out all the time, even when he just sends me a text message. So
yeah,
there's that.
That's the way it should be. Hold on, I'm gonna send since Kendrick's in here, I'm gonna send him the invite now that I know that you can do this from your phone. I'll see if he's able to jump on for the last few minutes since I'm hanging on by a thread here. All right. Man. Well, so what did you think your score prediction was for Red Bulls?
My score prediction for Red Bulls is a very optimistic 2-1. I think we can beat them. I think they're down in form. I think we are on the ascendancy in form. We can beat them and freaking grind their faces in the first time we've ever beat them in the regular season. Yes, Brittany S is on 2-1 Atlanta United.
I like the 2-1 call for sure. I'm not convinced, and nor have I been all season, that Atlanta is capable of winning a game scoring less than 2 goals at this point, because I feel like they're going to concede at least one. So I do like the trajectory that the team has been on in recent weeks, and with it being at home and building off of the success this past weekend, I like that prediction. I'll say 2-1 as well.
Hey, do you want to hazard a guess at the goal scorers?
I will say Aruju and Almada.
Wow. So I think, and this is kind of Cinderella thinking from me, but I'll go Aruju to get one. But I'm going to go for a Caleb Wiley winner at the death.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I'm sick of these stoppage time goals, though, man. Just win it in regulation.
Yeah. Well, they all count, Kev. They all count.
I know. I just don't want to have to depend on that if Atlanta makes it into the playoffs, you know?
Oof. Yeah. I don't think we'll have to rely on it. Kendrick.
Wow.
Look at that. He is like ready.
Yep. Ready to go, man.
He's sitting outside, sitting on his turf lawn with his wood fence behind him.
Just in the home office with the fake background.
Nice. Kendrick, how is your what's your prediction that's going to happen with Red Bulls? So we can do a score and then maybe expand it a little bit to see what you think's going to be the game state and all that sort of stuff. XG prediction.
I think
prediction. I like that.
It'll probably end up being like a 2-2 draw. I think we'll see probably something different for the Atlanta lineup with some changes, just with squad rotation. Pineda shows he likes to rotate the squad. Maybe we get someone like Edwin, whatever his last name is, showing Mascara, showing up and making a name for himself. But with Red Bulls, anything can happen. As I said in the chat, Ted Uncle's the ref. We like to get chippy with the Red Bulls. There could be some cards.
Yeah, it makes me nervous because I think Moreno is on one card away from being suspended. And so the other guy is, of course, Dom Dwyer. No surprises there. And then Amar Sejdic, but I doubt Amar Sejdic is going to even play. So, I hate that 2-2 prediction, Kendrick. I'm not enamored by that, to be honest with you. Who are your goal scorers?
Arujo's going to get one, and then Sosa's going to get one off a corner kick.
Ooh, like a Sosa Olympico, or just like it hits out and he hits it from past the 18?
No, it's just going to like hit off his thigh in the box and go in somehow.
Like an LGP type dirty goal.
Yeah.
Nice. Someone in the trap. Okay, so someone saying Edwin scores. That would be great. I remember mascara because it rhymes with mascara, which is what I use every day to keep these lashes pretty. What's your take on mascara, Kendrick, from the maybe 40 minutes you've seen of him?
You can tell the chemistry's not there yet, kind of expected. But I mean, even the announcer Saturday kind of talked about there's a few opportunities. He was kind of 1v1 down the wing and he just kind of slowed down and didn't take the guy on 1v1. And that's kind of what all the scouting reports said. He's supposed to be the guy to take people on one-on-one. So I'm not sure if that's just him, being new and not wanting to make a mistake, or if Pineda's telling him to do something different. But I'd love to see him, show some speed and, really put some defenders on their back heels.
Yeah, that's something like Tito Villalba speed is what I'm looking for, like right down the wing, just going for it. But he's 20. I forget his age.
He's under 22.
Well, that's true. He's under 22. That's a very good point. I'm interested to see how much more he can go. Maybe he can be. I feel like Sosa has been a relative success based on what he did under Heinze. Maybe Mascara can be the second U22 player to actually be successful in his role consistently.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we've had bad luck with, I don't know how much we're paying him, but we need to be getting the most out of our money, and we've got, people that aren't doing that. I mean, I know Heineman's been injured, but how much are we paying Heineman? And he hasn't played more than like 2 games in a year and a half now.
Yeah, I think we're $500,000 this season in Hyman. I'm sure we're playing Mascara like $5 million a year or something ridiculous like that. But yeah, I'm thinking that Hyman and Rossetto are probably going to be on the outs at the end of the season. I feel like I've seen some really good stuff out of Hyman, but if we can't keep him healthy and consistent, I feel like it's time to move him on. I think he was potentially a good pickup.
Yeah, especially with his price tag. I don't know how you can justify it, especially if you're going through a restructuring and if you're trying to get some MLS guys in for cheaper. And I'm sorry if I don't know if my connection's good or bad. You guys are coming in and out, so I apologize if it's terrible right now.
Not too bad right now.
You're sounding good. I'm sure Mikey Ambrose will probably fare well at the end of the season too, because even when 3/4 of the team was injured, he still could barely get playing time.
Yeah, poor Mikey. I really like Mikey. He's just not that great right now. I think DeJohn will probably be a guy that heads out also. But we'll see. All right, Kendrick. So this is my favorite question to ask any new person on the podcast. What are you doing with Joseph this offseason?
Because we have 1 more year and then an option. Or is it?
So I thought we had 2 options, though I could be wrong. So let's just say he's got 2 years.
2 years. I mean, obviously, first things first, I'm probably trying to restructure because what is he making? 4 or 5 mil a year?
Yeah, something like that. But he's a DP, so he's only 13,000 to the cap.
Yeah, but I mean, restructuring him gives you a lot of other options in terms of potentially offloading him because let's face it, unless we're shipping him off to the Middle East or China, no one's paying him $5 million a year.
Right
now. So, if we can restructure him and, maybe offload him for something decent, that would be nice. But at the end of the day, I think, it's a tough decision. I think you ride him out for 1 more year, see what he can do. Because, at the end of the day, he's still, when he gets the ball inside the box, he still looks real deadly.
Or he just passes it off to another player.
Well, yeah, I mean, when he has his back turned to the goal 18 yards out, I don't know why he's getting the ball there anyway.
Yeah, I am, man. I mean, I love Joseph, but I'm a lot more bearish on him right now. I just don't think he's ever going to get back to the form that we've seen him at his peak, right? I feel like his peak is gone, and he's not gonna get back there. So if he can, great. But if not, then I worry that if we pay him, restructure him down to a TAM deal, so we can bring in another DP. I worry that it's going to take a ton of TAM that could be used for other positions in order to keep Joseph around.
Yeah, I mean it's hard. I think it's what production do we need for him to make him worth whatever money. I mean, if you argue based purely off production, I'm not sure there's many attacking players on the team that should still be around.
That's a good point. That is a good point.
But
he's been our main threat. Like, I mean, he's the position that guys get transferred for $100 million right now. In the top tiers. So I just feel like if you are in Atlanta United, that is where you spend all of your money.
we need a striker always competing for the Golden Boot.
100%, because we're Atlanta United. We came into this league, and yes, we caught lightning in a bottle, but I feel like the league has caught up with us now. And if we're going to continue to be that trendsetter, then we need to go above and beyond now. So let's bring in a Lautaro Martinez. Well, not, he's heir apparent. I mean, the thing is, haven't heard any sort of like rumors or anything. We're pretty early in everything, but who's going to be that guy that we bring in? Because surely we can't rely on Joseph for another year. In him being our main threat, I feel like that's gone.
Yeah, probably. So, although I've always said I would love to see Joseph up there with a big guy like Brandon Vasquez on a consistent basis to see what two very different styled strikers could do and throwing off a defense. But yeah, I think, to your point, we need someone that's scoring to be our striker and taking up that DP spot. But, then it also leads to, in Atlanta United club history, we've always had the problem of who's scoring the goals when Joseph's not scoring them. So even if we bring in someone else that, does, score 20 plus goals a season, we do need other people to step up and, have one or two guys scoring, at least 10.
Right. Well, I mean, Andrew Goodman.
Yeah, when he's healthy all season, I expect him and Brandon Vasquez to be duking it out for the Golden Boot.
100%. No truer words have been said. Absolutely.
Speaking of Brandon Vasquez, did he hit puberty after he left? Because he looked swole.
Yeah. I mean, definitely I think his body has, but I don't think it caught up above the neck, like I feel like I could grow a better beard than Brandon Vasquez, but I mean, he has like, I feel like he will end up being a Tony Gonzalez type guy. I mean, Tony Gonzalez is beautiful when he's like, how old is Tony Gonzalez now? Like 48 or something. But Brandon Vasquez is right there with him. Yeah, so sorry, Brittany. Yes, I mean, I feel like every time I bring up Joseph, it's always going to like, well, how do we sell him? How do we replace him? So it gets pretty depressing.
Well, I don't know. What are the roster rules in terms of when we just cut someone and pay them their money? Like, how does that count against our cap space? And
I think we've got one. I mean, we did that with Jürgen Damm. So
yeah, but if we're doing that with a DP player, like, is that affecting our DP status?
I don't think so. I think you just buy out the contract,
and it doesn't count.
You shouldn't be docked at DP just because you bought out their contract. That'd be crazy to me. But I mean, it's MLS, so I could see that potentially happening.
Yeah, no one understands the roster rules.
No. All right, so in the trap, Elliot Beavan's asking, will Atlanta let Dom go? Kendrick, your thoughts?
Let Dom go?
Dom, yeah. Dom
no.
Dwyer.
He's making MLS minimum.
Yes. Yeah, totally agree. All right, what about who else? Who are you going to let go? Who's your top three? Give me three names.
Dijon, obviously.
Well, yeah.
Mikey
Ambrose and Rossetto.
I mean, Alan Franco, honestly, if we're keeping Parada, I don't know what his deal is, and we've got a healthy Robinson and Campbell. I mean, Alan Franco's making what, $500,000 a year ish?
Something along those lines, yeah.
That's too much to be paying our second backup at center back. And I do think, on your point earlier, Mourinho, in terms of what he's making, I feel like in the MLS, you can't, because he's what, 900,000?
Well, Marcelino Marino is on a base and guaranteed compensation of 460,000. So he's not that bad. Miles is making more money than him.
Yeah, at that price, I would keep him.
Yeah, I would too.
And then, it'll be interesting to see the goalkeeper situation next year too. Will we try, because both goalkeepers now are on loan, right?
I think so. I think we've got an option to buy Godinho. I don't know if we have an option to buy Rocco.
So, I mean, you have Brad coming back from, serious injury for anyone, much less a 36-year-old. And then we have two, were academy players at some point under contract with the twos.
Yeah, Reyes and Garces, right?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do there. If we don't bring someone from within, I'd love for us to go get Sean Johnson, bring him home.
If we can somehow finagle it, I would like to see Rocco around for another year. I think he could potentially work into something very special.
I'm just waiting for him playing at the half-field line for half the game to bite us in the ass.
Yeah, you and Andy Watkins, I think, are looking for that. Or was it Matt Winooski? I can't remember which one of those guys. Yeah. Yeah, I hope it never happens. I hope he always tries to bait the defenders, and then when someone actually tries it, he actually manages to get back there and scorpion kicks it like the Colombian keeper did against England. And it'll be great. And then he'll sign in the air, Kendrick. Love heart.
Yeah, but I mean, I think, he's obviously been better than Bobby Shuttleworth. So,
yep.
It's been a good deal on that. And, Bobby Shuttleworth, pieced out as soon as he saw he wasn't getting the starting position back for, I mean, let's face it, assistant job in college is not a prestigious gig in America.
It's a wise man who knows his limits, and I respect Bobby Shuttleworth that he realized his limits were exceeded, and he went on his merry way.
That does make you question, though, the front office decision to keep him around. If he didn't even believe in himself.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know how he interviewed. He may have had a really good interview. I mean, we've all been there, right? We've interviewed people and you're like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And then they turn up and they're like, what's email? So anyway.
Brittany's question of buying Rocco. If he's cheap, but, one would assume Guzan's going to be the starter next season once he is healthy. And, we don't want to be spending too much money on a backup goalkeeper, plain and simple.
Yeah.
But if the plans for Guzan to somehow be a backup, well, hey, we're paying a backup $400,000. But
that's right. Yep.
If we can get him for cheap, yeah, great to have around.
Yeah, I was hoping that so Justin Garces is on 65,000. Castanera's on 85,000. I don't think they had Rocco in here yet because it was middle of the season. Bobby Shuttleworth was on 125,000. Good Lord. What does it say about Can that he has been replaced already?
I was thinking that during the game. They mentioned he had injury and kind of lost it while he was injured, but
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's everyone's screaming for him to be the starter. I think, we can all put that to rest now that he's probably not, MLS starter caliber. He's great for a backup, but he's probably not starter caliber.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think next year, I believe we can. I don't think Godinho will actually play for Atlanta United. I think Godinho will just we won't decide to either purchase him or he will become a backup, which may not be what he wants. But I have a feeling that if Rocco can continue improving, which I feel like he has improved, and he's so young, they'll find a way to make that happen and put him under Guzan's tutelage. I think that could be a good situation for Rocco. And if they, I think I saw on Twitter like his price is $2 million, something like that. But don't hold me to that. He could be the guy we go with.
If he goes under Guzan's tutelage, does he also have to shave his head?
I don't think you want him to shave his head. I feel like he's got a good, young, full, thick head of hair, just like me. I don't think you want that. Would you want that, Kendrick?
I just think it'd be funny if we were known as the team with bald goalkeepers.
Well, it was funny, like when Gutman scored, they panned to the sideline, and there was like Rob Valentino and two other assistant coaches who were all bald on the sideline for Atlanta United. So, yeah,
I'd also like to see Godinho at least get a shot in a game. I mean, we brought him in. Let's face it, it's not like we're risking too much, and unless he's just been god awful in training, like.
Well, maybe Kendrick, when we've achieved our playoff spot and with the last game of the season, we're just playing for because it's scheduled. Maybe Godinho will get a shot.
By securing our playoff spot before the last game, do you mean the spot not in the playoffs?
Potentially.
Because I believe if we go to the playoffs, it will come down to the last game.
The last game, yeah. No, I think that's a very good point. Oh, man. All right. Well, Kendrick, you've been an excellent co-host here. Obviously, Kevin shat the bed just like Andrew Gutman did 2 games ago. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And just being so prepared. I mean, like, bam. Kevin was like, hey, let me send Kendrick. You're already there. You're already in your Atlanta United gear. You've got your fence background. So I really appreciate it, man. And it's great to actually finally meet you virtually.
Yep. We'll have to get each other at a game at some point this season.
100%, man. My kids are like, just take me to a game. I don't care which one it is. So.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right. Thank you all. All right. You can find Kevin at I can't even think of stupid Twitter name. I think he's like the Arc One Tech.
He's not. He doesn't even use it anymore.
He doesn't even use Twitter.
Don't waste your time.
Probably find him like just at a Sonic drive-through, eating an Arby's sandwich and ordering a fruit blast or something. So I don't know. You can find Tim Herb. You can find him at Tim Herb or Woodworking on Instagram. He's probably on TikTok too. You can find me at DNJMS on Twitter, and sometimes I will be on there, but not very often. Kendrick, where can they find you?
At Kendrick Brock on Twitter and any other social media platform that I'm on.
What's your OnlyFans handle?
It's Mr. Harry Butt 69. I'm a top 10% on OnlyFans, so feel free to check me out. Send me some tips.
Absolutely.
You'll see Kevin make a guest appearance every now and then.
Yeah, he's up to like 5 appearances now, I think, something like that.
I mean, at this point, he's a regular.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, everyone, I hope... I think actually Kevin got it here. Country Brock. That's actually your OnlyFans handle. All right, y'all. Well, this has been Home Before Dark. Been great catching up with you. Sorry it was such a shit show, but I feel like these shit show ones are the best ones. So Anyway, take care, everyone, and talk to you later. So we're still live. I don't know how to actually unlive it rather than just leaving the studio because they don't give me the controls. So if Kevin's still listening, he can end the broadcast. But other than that, I'm just going to close my browser and that'll be it.